The Philadelphia Eagles face off against the San Francisco 49ers in the third matchup of our bracket searching for the best defense in the NFL. First, let's check up on the results of the second matchup. The New York Giants went up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers advanced without a problem to the second round to face the AFC North rival Baltimore Ravens. Now it's the Eagles against the 49ers, and we're going to go in the trenches, where PFW senior editor Eric Edholm and associate editor Kevin Fishbane hash out the argument.
Okay, Kevin, we're continuing our series here, debating some defenses. You've got the 49ers. I've got the Eagles. Interesting little debate. I'll let you go first. I think I know where you're going to go with this thing.
Well, it's interesting, Eric, that you call it a debate, because that means that there's two very clear sides. I think this one's pretty obvious that it is the 49ers defense. I mean, you look at what they did last year, not allowing a rushing touchdown until the second to last week of the regular season.
Pretty good.
Look at that defensive line, Justin Smith right there. Alden Smith, a great rookie season game after the quarterback. The best linebacking tandem in the game right now, Patrick Wilson, Navarro Bowman. That secondary played well. Do I need to continue? I mean, the 49ers last year almost went to the Super Bowl solely on their defense. Certainly wasn't because of Alex Smith. So I think that speaks for itself. Eagles, a lot of issues last year, a lot of names, but didn't really make up for it. I know they're going to be better this year, and I'm sure that's what you're going to tell me, but I still got to go with San Francisco.
You know me well. Perfect segue into my argument. You had two key words last season. And I do think the 49ers sport one of the best units in football. But I think the Eagles are going to be markedly better this season. I think they're going to have an identity this year, which they did not last season. Juan Castillo didn't have an offseason to work with these guys, basically threw in a couple of guys at linebacker, didn't know what he was doing in the secondary. And we saw glimpses of it down the stretch. Final 4 games, only 46 points allowed. They started to figure out what Juan Castillo wanted to do. And guess what? They added a couple of rookies in Fletcher Cox and Vinny Curry. I think only make that group better. We'll see if Brandon Graham can contribute at all. First-round pick out of Michigan a couple of years ago. With all the pieces they add in the front seven, I think they're going to be even better in the pass rush department.
I will agree with you there. See, we can agree on something on this. The Eagles are going to be much better defense, and I think they're not getting enough credit. Give Juan Castillo, as you said, a full offseason with all of those players. But when I think of the Eagles' defense, all I think back to is that game against the Bills, where Fred Jackson just walked all over him, and they didn't touch him. I know they improved as the season went along, but that run defense for Philadelphia, their linebackers, that middle of the defense just wasn't very good, whether against the run or the pass. I'll give the Eagles the cornerback. I'll say their cornerbacks, obviously Asma is the best cornerback among these two teams. Carl Schreiters did have a pretty good year last year. He played pretty darn well for them, and their pass defense was stepped up.
I will tell you about those linebackers. I think the two additions they made this offseason are going to really bring it all together. D'Amico Ryans, a little bit miscast in that Texans 3-4 defense, gets back to the 4-3 system that he was so good in Houston, which is going to be very similar to the one that the Eagles are going to run. Plus, they got this kid, Michael Kendricks, tested through the roof at the Combine. I think he's going to be a day-one starter. All of a sudden, that linebacker unit looks a lot better. The 49ers took the air out of the ball, were great on offense, kept the defense off the field for the most part. Special teams were terrific. They only turned the ball over 10 times. Eagles offense, 38 turnovers. Consistently put the defense in bad spots. They were always backed up, always having to try to save the offense. It's going to be tough to win this argument with you, and I know the 49ers were far better last season, but I think the Eagles are really gaining on them and could surpass them in a lot of categories.
Well, I will give you that the Eagles are not getting enough credit for how good that defense will be, and I think this competition is much closer than maybe most people would expect. But I'll give you this, 49ers only allowed just over 14 points a game last season. Pretty good in this day and age of the NFL.
And hard to argue against.
Which team will advance to the semifinals, the San Francisco 49ers or the Philadelphia Eagles? Fans, that's up to you to decide. Cast your vote in the comments section of our YouTube channel or send us your vote on Twitter or participate in the poll at facebook.com/ProFootballWeekly and, of course, at ProFootballWeekly.com.